Alright, welcome back, Voidelings. I am the expert of experts. Who's choking on a piece of hair. Where did this piece of hair come from? The master of disaster. The one who only voids here, Snubbagostrona. And we're back with the Voidex. A little bit late, okay? A little bit late because I woke up late. You know how it goes. You know how it goes. So welcome back. Hello. We are here for Final Fantasy VI. Last time we talked about all the items and equipment in the game. It was a lot. Today, we are going to be checking out the Espers and Magic, and we're going to talk about the characters. So let's talk about the Magic. So, Magic in this game is grossly overpowered. In fact, I feel like Magic in this game is probably, you know what, I say grossly overpowered, maybe not so much. It's still very good, though. Especially for some characters. You give it Hera or Celis or Realm, Magic is pretty disgusting. You give it to someone like Cyan, then, you know, it's not as disgusting, but overall, you're going to be using Magic a lot in this game. One of the things that makes this game a little bit not as interesting per se as previous Final Fantasies is yes, every character has their own unique skills and whatnot, but ultimately at the end of the day, near the end of the game, everyone ends up just, you know, spamming Magic. Everyone's gonna be using Curaga, they're gonna be using Re-Raise, they're gonna be using Arise, they're gonna be using Ultima, Curaga, Blissika, Thunderga. You're gonna end up not using their, unique skills as much. So everyone's gonna end up being very similar. Like, can we take a look here? So Cure, it just restores HP. So, it has the power of 10, which isn't very much. We'll go over power later. You can learn Cure from Kirin at a times 5 rate, Siva at a times 4 rate, Seraph at a times 20 rate, and Lakshmi at a times 25 rate. Hera starts the game with this, and Celis gets this at level 4. I don't know if you can get a Celis before level 4. I actually have no idea. If you can, then, Celis will not start with this immediately. And then you got Cura, which is 20 MP more, but it's got 28 power as opposed to 10 power, so it's 5 times the MP cost for almost triple the power. I think that's a fair trade, honestly. If it's almost triple power, I think 5 times the MP cost is fine in this case. You can learn this at times 1 rate from Kirin, at times 4 rate from Unicorn, at times 5 rate from Golem, times 8 from Seraph, and times 16 from Lakshmi. And Hera can learn this naturally at level 33. I highly doubt you're going to learn this naturally. Simply for the fact that, like, by the time you get to level 33, you should already have Cura. Like, what are you doing not having Cura by level 33 with Hera? How did you manage that? Okay, Curaga is 40 MP. So this is only 15 more MP as opposed to 20, but it has a power of 66. So this almost has triple the power of Cura for only 15 more MP. Curaga is very, very good. Very good. It's very good. You're gonna want this on everyone. It's gonna be your main healing at endgame. You learn it at times 1 rate from Lakshmi and times 3 rate from Phoenix. So the moment you get Lakshmi is when you can start trying to learn Curaga. It's just gonna take 100 fights, give or take, if you're getting 1 AVP or an AP per fight. But I mean, there's no reason to not equip it and try to learn it early. It's gonna be a while before you get Phoenix. And you gotta go through an annoying dungeon and get Phoenix. And there's a way of grinding AP called Cactars. If you get Umaru and give Umaru the Sniper Soul. I think it's called Sniper Soul, right? So that Umaru hits, or you can give it to anyone and let them just, destroy Cactars. Not that hard. They give 10 AVP, so you can learn it in 10 fights from Cactars. Which is honestly pretty good. Alright, so Raise revives the KO target. It revives you with... I want to say it's like 20% of your, max HP. I want to say that's how it is. 216. So 1/8 of their max HP. 1/8 of their max HP they will revive. It costs 3 MP, so I mean it's a very hefty cost. I'm gonna be real. I feel like Phoenix Down is almost always better to use than Raise. Like, unless you run out of Phoenix Downs, you really don't need a Raise spell, I feel. Because you're using a large sum of MP to revive a character almost for the same cost of using a Phoenix Down. I think Phoenix Downs revive you with less HP, but like... Raise doesn't revive you with a whole lot of HP either, and characters are probably going to get downed even with a Raise spell, so why waste 3 MP there when you can use a Phoenix Down and then heal with like Cura or something? I mean, it's not bad to have Raise on deck just in case you need it, but I don't think it's really that great. You can learn it at times 2 rate for Bismarck, times 5 rate for Seraph, and times 10 rate for Phoenix. And Hera naturally learns this at level 18. So if you don't want to spend the time to learn Raise with Hera, then you can just get this at level 18. I don't know what levels you would normally be by the time you get Hera back, because this is after the, whatchamacallit, the, Max Facility. I would assume you'd be close to like level 15 or something, so... yeah. And then next you have Arise, which is a full HP revive. It costs 60, MP, and it revives you with full HP. You're gonna be using this a lot at endgame. There's no reason not to. No reason not to at all. You can learn this from Phoenix at times 2 rate, and Hera naturally learns this at level 49. But you're better off getting it from Phoenix for Hera, in all honesty, because unless you do like level grinding, you are not really gonna get Hera at level 49 before you get Phoenix, I feel. I mean, you can, but I feel like you're not gonna be that high for level for Phoenix Cave. And then, and then, Poisoner removes poison and sap from the target. So, poison is really just a minor nuisance, I feel. Poison's not really that big of a deal in this game. Sap is a little annoying, but I don't think you get hit with sap that much in the game, in all honesty. It costs 3 MP. You can learn it from Kieran at times 4 rate. Hera learns it naturally at level 6, and Celis learns it naturally at level 8. So, you might use Poisoner a lot early on in the game to save on antidotes, but like, I'm gonna say by the time you get to battle at NARS, you're not really going to be using poison as much, because you should have a whole bunch of antidotes spiking. Or, you know, you're going to have star pendants or accessories that prevent poison. Or you're just going to ignore poison outright because poison's not really that bad of a status. Not really that bad. It's not as bad to say, you know, Final Fantasy 8 or Final Fantasy 10 where it really, really hurts. Oh god, it really hurts at FF8 and 10. Again, Esna, it cures most statuses. By that, it means it cures blind, poison, petrify, silence, confuse, sap, sleep, slow, and stop. So it does not cure, it does not cure charm. It does not cure zombie. It does not cure imp. It does not cure doom. It does not cure freeze. So some statuses it will not cure outright. There's other ways of curing those statuses, of course. So it costs 15 MP. You learn it at times 3 rate from Unicorn, times 4 from Seraph, times 20 from Laxmi, and times 15 from Alexander. And the regen. It restores HP slowly. I'm gonna be honest, regen is one of those statuses that's just not really that great, I feel. Give me a second. Give me just a second. Boo, boo. Alright, so, yeah, it's like, regen's a lot better in some games than others. I feel like it's not really that great here, unless you have, like, auto haste. It works, it's a lifesaver in the arena when you're trying to farm, Miracle Shoes. But outside of that, like, it's not really that great in this game. You can learn it at times 3 rate from Kirin, times 10 from Seraph, and times 20 from Laxmi. And then re-raise. So re-raise will automatically revive the target if they are KO'd. Only once. It's basically going to revive him with about as much HP as probably Raise, if not less than that. It costs 50 MP, and you can only learn it from Phoenix at times 1 rate. There's no other way of learning this spell. Hilariously enough. You would think that, like, Hera or, Celis would naturally learn it, but no. Nope. They don't naturally learn it. That's all of the, healing magic. Now, for half magic, we have Fire, Blizzard, and Thunder. So, Fire and Thunder, or, it's a little bit weird, because, Fire's 4 MP, this is 5 MP, and this is 6 MP. Fire has a power of 21, Blizzard has a power of 22, and Thunder has a power of 20. Why are they different in power like that? Why not just make them all the same power? They're the same spell, just different elements. Why do that? I don't know. It's weird. Fire! You can learn at times 6 rate from Siren, times 10 rate from Ifrit, and times 20 rate from Bismarck. And Hera learns it at level 3. Blizzard! You learn at times 10 rate from Siva, times 20 from Bismarck, and Celis learns it at level 1. And Thunder! You learn at times 10 rate from Ramu, and times 20 rate from Bismarck. Poison! Does a little bit of poison elemental damage and inflicts poison. I'll be honest, I don't use status hacks that much. And poison is one of those statuses that is like super rare to use. I think the only time I use poison is in FF7 and FF10. Like, I never use poison in any other FF game because, like, most of the time, poison doesn't really help a whole lot. And a lot of things you want to use poison on are immune to it, or immune to the element, and anything else that you can use poison on, there's no reason to use poison on, so, like, this spell really doesn't do a whole lot for you as a player. Because 3 MP has a power of 25, so it's stronger than these 3 spells. It has 100 hit rate. These all have 150 hit rate. This has 100. Why does it have 50 less? I don't know. You can learn it from Ramu at times 5 rate. That's it, you can only get it from Ramu. Drain absorbs target's HP to heal the cell, and this spell ignores Reflect. Okay, I'm gonna be real. I've never used Drain. Drain doesn't do enough damage, I feel, to be worth it. And I feel like if you're gonna use a healing spell, you might as well use something like Cura or Cure. Those are better. They're less MP. Or in the case of Cura, it's a little bit more MP, but they heal better. And in some cases, heal a higher party better than a Drain spell would. Is Drain useless? Kinda, really. You can't use it on undead enemies, because if you do, you're gonna hurt yourself and heal them. And, like, again, it doesn't really do that much damage. I mean, it has a power of 38, which is stronger than Poison by 13. But, ultimately, I don't think it's really that great. Ifrit teaches it at times 1 rate, and Hera learns it naturally at level 12. So yay! Give me just a second if you will. And then we get to the level 2 elemental spells. So, Fire, Glycera, Thundera. All 150 accuracy. This is 20 MP, 21 MP, 22 MP. Why? I don't know. And again, 60 power, 62 power, 61 power. Why? Why is it such... Why are they just, like, that way? Why not just make them all the same power? Fyra. Ifrit teaches it at times 5 rate. Magdalene teaches it at times 3 rate. If you have the Flame Shield equipped, you learn it at times 5 rate. And Hera naturally learns it at level 22. You should have this way before level 22 though. Glycera. You can learn it at times 5 rate from Siva or the Ice Shield. Times 3 from Magdalene, and Celis learns it naturally at level 26. And Thundera. Ramu teaches it at times 2 rate, Magdalene at times 3 rate, and the Thunder Shield at times 5 rate. And then we get Bio, which does pretty good poison elemental damage. It's weaker than these. These are like 60, 61, 62. This has a power of 53. And it has a hit rate of 120 as opposed to 150. I don't know what the hit rate, why the hit rate's like that. I don't think magic really misses very much against enemies. So, I don't know, man. I have no idea. You can only learn it from Calblethus and at times 8 rate. I want to say that Bio inflicts, sap, but I think it only inflicts poison. Yeah, it inflicts poison. And then we get the Aga spells, Baraka, Ballistica, Thunderga. So, 150 hit rate. And again, 121 power, 122, and then 120. And then 51, 52, 53 MP. I don't know, man. It's weird. Baraga! You learn from Galagar Manga at times 1 rate, and Phoenix at times 3 rate. Okay, these who you learn from Calico Manga at times 1 rate. So all of these are learned from Calico Manga at the same time, and then, you know, Phoenix teaches Baraka faster at times 3. And Hera naturally learns Baraka at level 43, and Celis naturally learns Blizzaga at level 42. So, you're going to be using these spells the most at the end of the game, until you get some of the higher spells. So, Break, Inflicts Petrify. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think I've really used Break in this game. There's a couple enemies in the Tower of Fanatics that Break is very, very good with. Actually, I think a lot of enemies are weak to Break there, but overall, I never really use Break that much. I should try a run sometime to, use spells that I normally don't use, just to see how good they are. It costs 25 MP, has a hit rate of 120. You learn it from Calglectus at times 5 rate, and Hera naturally learns this at level 68. In Harasskin, you're not going to be at that high of a level, you're going to have this learn way before it, but like, interesting that Hera learns this naturally. And what makes that even more interesting is, in like, spin-offs and stuff, you never see Hera with this. You see her with like the fire spells, with like Holy and Ultima, Flare, stuff like that. But you never really see her with like Break. And then we have Gaff. That's not Gaff. Where am... Oh. I think what happened is, I accidentally hit a button. Gaff! Which, you know, inflicts instant Gaff. Again, another spell that I don't really use. I see what's happening. I see what's happening. I'm hitting a button somehow. So, Gaff. Yeah, it's the same deal as Break. I never use Gaff. Simply because I don't know. It has a hit rate of 95, so it's a lower hit rate than Break. But like, by the time you usually get the Gaff spell, it doesn't really help very much because most things are going to be like immune to Gaff for the most part. You learn it from Calglectus at times 2 rate, so that's the only way to get Gaff. It takes a little bit of time to get, so by the time you actually get, a lot of things are going to be like resistant or immune to Gaff, so, you know, if at that point you could just destroy enemies real easily with everything else. It costs 35 MP to use. Holy! Holy, 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 holy. You're probably going to use this a lot, compared to the August spells. Actually, you might not. Because, hilariously, Holy is weaker than elemental spells. While those have about 120 power, Holy has a power of 108. So, it's about 12 power weaker than the elemental spells. It does it does major Holy elemental damage. It only hits one enemy though, I think. I do not think you can multi-cast Holy. I could be wrong. I do not think... Normally you can't multi-cast Holy. You learn it from Alexander at times 2 rate. Hera naturally learns it at level 57. And Celis naturally learns it at level 72. I mean, you're never really going to be above level 60 in this game, I feel. I'd be surprised if you're above level 50 by the time you beat the game. You might be above level 50, but like, level 60 is, kinda very, very high, not gonna lie. And then we get Flare. So, Give me a second. Let me go check this. I feel like something's hypoed here. Something feels like it's hypoed. It says 60 power. That seems incorrect. Also, if you want to use Holy, you can use the Lightbreaker weapon. Lightbreaker will use Holy. I don't remember the Holy Rods here. That also uses Holy. For Thyra, you would use the Flame Rod. Blissara, you would use the Ice Rod. And Thundera, you would use the Thunder Rod. I went over the equipment. It's not listed here on this page. It really should be. And I'm probably gonna have people remodify this page a little bit to add that in. But yes, a lot of weapons do use spells. And even some shields can use spells. You just have to use them as items, which break them. So Flare apparently has a power of 60, which I don't know how it has a power of 60 when it's an endgame spell. I feel like it's supposed to be 160. I feel like that's hypo. Maybe it's not. It has an accuracy of 150, and it costs 45 MP. So, I think the reason why it has a power of 60 is it ignores magic defense. So it just bypasses magic defense and just, you know, nukes. As you know, players want to do. So Bahamut teaches this at times too, and interestingly enough, Celis learns, gets this naturally at level 81. You're never going to be in the 80s. You really should never be in the 80s. If you're in the 80s, then I don't know what you've been doing, my guy. I don't know what you've been doing. And if you have the Ragnarok sword, you can use this through that with hacking. Alright, Gravity. It reduces the target's HP by half, and it ignores Reflect, so you cannot reflect Gravity. Same with Graphica, you cannot reflect it. This has a power of 8, which I don't know why it's a power of... Oh, because 816. Okay, I gotcha. It costs 33 MP, Graphica has 48 MP. Gravity has 120 hit rate, Graphica 100. So Graphica's just Gravity, but 3/4 as opposed to half. Gravity, you learn only from Phantom at times 5 rate, and Graphica, you learn at times 5 rate from Diablo, at times 1 rate from Midgar Stormer, and Hera naturally learns this at level 75. You do see Hera use Graphica in other games, so she usually uses Graphica, Holy, Faraga, well, she uses like Thyra, Blissara, Thundera, Flare, Ultima. Those are usually the spells that you see her using. Banish! Banish. This spell is broken in the PlayStation and the SNES version. If you cast Banish on a enemy, it makes them become invisible. So they're immune to physicals, but they're vulnerable to magic. In the SNES and PlayStation version, this also turns off their immunity to death. So you would use Banish on them, and then use this spell, which was called X-Zone, to instantly defeat anything in the game. It worked on everything in the game. Everything. So, it ignores Reflect. It ignores Runic in the GBA version and the Steam version. I don't know if it ignores Runic in this version. I don't know why it ignores Runic in general, but it also delays final attacks by 1 turn. So it makes it so that final attacks never really happen. Making it very, very good. Very, very good. It costs 53 MP. It has a hit rate of 85, which, I mean, it better have a lower hit rate than Death because it's AoE. It targets all enemies, whereas Death can only target one enemy, and Break can only target one enemy, if I recall. You can learn this at Time Sky Rate for Fenrir or for the Curse Ring. So, I mean, you can, there's a reason to use the Curse Ring, but you really shouldn't be using that. Meteor. So Meteor does non-elemental max damage to all enemies. It has a power of 36. So, I hit the wrong button. It has a power of 36, which... Give me a second. Give me a second. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? So, it ignores max defense. It is a spell that ignores max defense. And it's also unblockable. So you cannot block it. As far as I know. It does split damage as well. So if there's more enemies, it will do less damage. But if there's only one enemy, it will do, the full damage. It also ignores Runic and Reflect. So yeah, you cannot reflect this spell. Are you going to be using this over the elemental spells? Probably. In all honesty. Unless you're fighting one... Well, actually, even against one enemy, it might be better to use this. But in all honesty, the elemental spells are better than Meteor against single target because it costs less MP. It might still be stronger than Meteor. And if you hit an elemental weakness, then, the elemental spells are going to be even better than Meteor. It costs 63 MP. The elemental spells, if I recall, cost like 50. 52, okay. So it costs a little bit more MP than the August spells. You learn this at times 10 rate for Crusader, times 1 for Ogun, and Celis naturally learns it at level 98. You shouldn't be learning this naturally. If you're getting a level 98 normally, then what are you doing? Why are you trying to get a level 99? You have no reason to. The game's over. Stop. Save your sanity. And we get to the most broken version of this spell in the history of Final Fantasy. Until we get to Final Fantasy X. Anyways. So Ultima is unblockable. It ignores max defense. And it ignores Reflect. So Ultima has a power of 150. Keep in mind, this does not do split damage. It does full damage to all enemies. Yeah, it makes it hits all enemies. So, full damage to all enemies. It cannot be reflected. It cannot be blocked. And it ignores max defense. Now, it does cost 80 MP, which is one of the highest MP costs in the game. There's a couple more that are higher than it, I believe. But by the time you get Ultima, you got ways of mitigating the MP costs. If you spend the time to get Celestiags, Ultima's free. You're just throwing Ultimas for 1 MP. The quick spell allows you to use Ultimas, as well as Osmos, who recover MP with Ultima. And if you have the Soul of Kamasa, you could go quick Ultima, Osmos, if you really want to restore MP. So you can get like double Ultimas, followed by Osmos, or you can do triple Ultimas if you really wanted to. It's disgusting. And this is what you're going to be using at the end of the game for the most part, with most characters. Some characters like Sapin is going to be using something else. Because, I mean, Sapin has other ways of doing 9999 damage. But everyone else is probably going to be spamming Ultima. You learn this from Ragnarok at ×1 rate. If you turn Ragnarok into a sword, there is another way of getting it. And it's through the Paladin Shield at ×1 rate. To get the Paladin Shield, you need to get the Curse Shield from Nars, like 255 battle, with anyone not Go-Go, and make sure they don't die, and you will get the Paladin Shield. It might be 256 fights. And Hera naturally learns it at level 99. You're not going to get this at level 99. You're not going to level 99. So, the funny thing is, Ragnarok is in the same place that the Cursed Shield is, so if you miss one, you're probably going to get the other. The problem is, if you don't know what the Cursed Shield does and what it turns into, you're not going to know that, you can get the Ultima spell to be sealed. And fun fact, if you equip the Ragnarok with the Paladin Shield, now it's at ×2. You're learning Ultima at a double rate. So that might alleviate the massive amount of AP you need to get. It's not very much AP you need though, because at this point in the game, there's really good grind spots. Alright, so we're getting to some spells that, quite frankly, you're not going to use any of these spells. Quake. Quake does a lot of Earth Elemental damage. However, Quake is bad, because it hits all enemies and all allies. Now, if you have a way of absorbing Earth damage, Quake is very nice. You're going to heal yourself. Alternatively, you can cast Float on your party, and Quake will not hit anyone flying. But ultimately, I feel like Quake just isn't really that great. Like, yeah, you can use this over the Aga spells, I guess, but like, the Aga spells are just better for single targets, and you know, they're safer. Quake also ignores Runic and Reflect. It ignores magic defense, and it's unblockable. So yes, Quake is very strong. But the problem with Quake is you're gonna murk yourself. And quite frankly, I'm not a big fan of murking myself. It also doesn't help that you get Quake so late in the game. You learn it from Midgard Stormer at ×3 rate, so you get it very late in the game. Very, very late. Now, if you want to talk about a spell that is completely useless, Tornado is useless. So, what it does is, it's the same problem with Quake. It targets all enemies and allies. It ignores Runic and it ignores Reflect. You can't block this though, so if you have like Age of Shield or anything with high magic block, you can block it. It reduces HP of all allies and enemies by 15/16. So it's stronger than Graphica, but like, honestly, I would rather use Graphica instead of this, for the simple fact that I don't want to, you know, put myself in critical HP. That's stupid. In addition, it's 75 MP for this spell. Like, it's a lot of MP for a spell that's just gonna, you know, backfire on you more likely than not. This is not a good spell. It's a terrible spell. You learn it from Midgard Stormer and times 1 rate. So, Tornado here is basically what it was like in Final Fantasy, 3, was it in 3? It might have been in 3. 3 and 4. They make it actually do wind elemental damage later on in Final Fantasy 7 and later. But like, in the early FFs, it was not as good. It was really good in FF4 if you know who to use it on, but like, in this game, no. Tornado is garbage. The ultimate garbage spell. Meltdown. This is another spell associated with Hera. Probably because Hera learns it naturally at level 86. You can also learn this from Crusader at times 1 rate. So Meltdown. It ignores max defense, ignores Runic, ignores Reflect, and is unblockable. It has a hit rate of 138 and a power of 85. So, Meltdown is another one of the I hit all enemy allies spells. However, this is a dual elemental spell. It does fire and wind damage to all enemies and allies. Now, if you have a Flame Shield or a Thunder Shield, you can negate or heal from Meltdown, but I'm gonna be real, I'm not a big fan of this spell. Like, you get super late in the game. You have to beat all 8 dragons that you can get Crusader. And by that point, you are probably in the final dungeon, or you beat the game. And you have better options. If you have Ultima or Meteor or Holy, that's just better than Meltdown. Especially Ultima. And you're not, you know, destroying yourself. So, Meltdown, not recommended. So, these 3 spells right here, you can learn them, but ultimately, I wouldn't use any of them. They're all bad. In the GBA and Steam version, there's 2 more spells. There's the Flood spell, which is unblockable, has a power of 100, and a hit rate of 150, and it costs 60 MP. So it ignores Runic and Reflect, and does major water elemental damage to all enemies. This is like the only water elemental spell in the entire game, and it's in the GBA Steam version. You would learn this from Leviathan at a times 2 rate. Also, you may have heard me mention Diabolos earlier. Diabolos is also GBA and Steam. Speaking of Diabolos, he teaches Gravid Jaw at times 3 rate, which is unblockable, ignores Reflect, and ignores max defense. It costs 70 MP and reduces the HP of all enemies by 7/8. So, Diabolos is not in the Pixel Remaster. Diabolos is in the GBA and Steam version. The mobile version, I should say, not the Steam. Same with Leviathan, same with Gilgamesh, same with Cactar. They're all GBA mobile only. So, Graphica is basically a better Tornado. So, if you wanted to use that, you could use it that way. But really, by the time you get Diablos, you already beat the game. Because Diablos is in the post-game optional dungeon. So you really have nothing to use these spells on. Leviathan you have to fight again. So you have to go back to, you fight Leviathan in the World of Ruin. By traveling the Serpent Trends on boat. So there's a reason to use the boat in, the GTA version. It also gives you another chance for Mog to learn the, Water Rondo dance. Alright, so... these spells. Libra. Well, good luck finding the GTA version to buy. Libra. Costs 4 MP. Has a hit rate of 222. Why is it 222? Why that number? What? Okay. It allows you to see target's HP Emple? I combined MP and level. HP, MP, level, and weaknesses. That's all it does. Honestly, I never really used Libra. I really don't have a reason to use Libra. I mean, I generally know the games myself, but even if I didn't know the games, it's like, I just throw stuff. If it hits, it hits. If it doesn't, then I won't use it, you know? Kieran teaches it at a high sky rate, and Celis naturally learns it at level 18. I don't know why you would wait so long for Celis to learn that, but, you know, you can, if you really want it to. Slow! Half target speed. It costs 5 MP, has a hit rate of 120. You can learn it at times 7 rate from Siren, and at times 20 rate from Quetzali. And then you have Rasp, which does damage to target's MP. So Rasp is interesting because there's quite a few enemies and bosses that will die when their MP reaches 0. However, most of the time, bosses have a ridiculous amount of MP that you're almost better off doing HP damage instead of MP. Almost. In the case of, like, say, Ultima Weapon and Magic Master, you can beat them easier using Rasp. But, you know. In the GBA version, you need Rasp to be a super boss. Rasp is a requirement to be a super boss. You learn it from Siva at times 4 rate, and from Sona Seeker at times 20 rate. Fun fact, this was a spell back in FF2 called Sap. You never used this in FF2. They have never brought this spell back in the FF series, as far as I'm aware. Silence! Infinite Silence! I mean, what more do you want to say? Costs 8 MP, hit rate of 100, and you can only learn it from Siren at times 8 rate. Now, the funny thing about, again, I don't really use the status spells, because, like, why? Why would I need to use the status spells? But some fights, I think, number 024 you could use Silence on, and that would, completely give them. I don't remember. I do not remember. I'm gonna have to check, UCBBG's video on that. Ultimately, I never use Silence myself. You can probably find ways of using this. I never use it. Protect is, I believe, halves physical damage. Let me see if it halves. It might be, some weird number. By about 33%. Reduces physical damage by 33%. Okay. Interesting, that's 33%. It costs 12 MP, and you learn it from Carbuncle at times 2 rate, Golem at times 5 rate, Alexander at times 10 rate, and Unicorn at times 1 rate. And Celis naturally learns it at level 22. Protect is a pretty okay spell. I mean, reducing physical damage by 33% is always a good thing. I mean, taking less damage in general is always a good thing, so I would highly recommend learning the spell as fast as you can. And then you have Sleep. What do you think the spell does, guys? What does the Sleep spell do? Perhaps it causes nightmares. If let's sleep with a hit rate of 111 for 5 MP. You learn it from Siren and at times 10 rate. Again, another spell I never really use. Confuse. Gosh, guys. Gosh, I don't know what this does. Like, I don't know what it does at all. I'm so confused. If let's confuse it to one target. It has a hit rate of 94, costs 8 MP, and you learn it from Kate Sith at times 7 rate, and from Celis, she learns it naturally at level 32. In the original version of the game, she never learns the spell, apparently. And then you have Haste. So, I'm gonna be real, Haste is usually a very good status. In some games, though, I feel like Haste doesn't really do a whole lot. I think to get the most use out of Haste, you really need to play in wait mode instead of active mode. Because active mode just makes it, like, time still flows in active. Therefore, even though you got haste on, you'll still basically get the same amount of turns before the enemy. In wait mode, you are probably going to get 2 more turns compared to your 1 turn in active mode. So, I mean, it's still not a bad spell. But in the end, I feel like haste is not as good as it could be. Inactive, only inactive. It costs 10 MP, you learn it from Carbuncle and at times 3 rate, and from Quetzalleaf and at times 20 rate, and Celis naturally learns it at level 32. Stop. If let's stop, has a hit rate of 100 and costs 15 MP. Fun fact, the Intenser, which is the super hard enemy of World 1, is weak to Stop. So you can abuse Stop on the Intenser to do AP farming and level farming if you really wanted to. You learn it from Golem and at times 5 rate, and Fenrir and at times 3 rate. Damn it! My cords keep getting in my way. Ah! Berserk! I don't really use Berserk very much. Berserk is an interesting spell in that if you use it on yourself, yeah, you cannot control the character anymore, but at the same time, you do get a damage boost. GPA FF6 is better with a couple mods. Yeah. The Magic Master that is at the top of the Power of Fanatics is not immune to Berserk. So you can use Berserk on Magic Master and make him ultimately useless. He will never use magic on you. I don't know if he still uses Ultimate, but like, he will never use magic on you. One fits the sound and make it look more like an SNES version. So, Berserk has a hit rate of 150, costs 16 MP, and you learn it from Phantom and times 3 rate. And Celis naturally learns Berserk at level 40. Float! So, this allows you to avoid Earth Elemental attacks. That's really all Float does. You avoid Earth Elemental attacks. So like Quake, Magnitude Gate. There's not really a whole lot of Earth Elemental attacks. Yeah, it's not really that great. You're gonna use Float for like one boss, really, and that's the Earth Dragon. It costs 17 MP, and you learn it from Kate Sith or Katsi at times 2 rate, and Quetzali at times 5 rate. Imp. Imp is an interesting status. It turns the target into an imp or removes an imp from the target. When you are an imp, you cannot use any magic other than imp, and your stats are reduced. Unless you are using the imp equipment. Landslide, Lifesaver, Magnitude 8, and Quake. Yeah, but the Archer, you don't really see all of those spells very often is the problem. So yeah, Imp is very situational. It does prevent special attacks, I believe, as well, if I recall. In some cases, using Imp on an enemy is bad, because you're making them crit more often. So, it ignores Runic except on the SNES version, which is interesting. It has a hit rate of 100, costs 10 MP, you learn it at times 5 rate with Katsi, and you learn it at times 1 rate with the Saucer, Hortus Shield, and the Reed Cloak. In addition, Celis learns this naturally at level 13. Why does Celis know how to use Imp? Guys, I said this before, but I'm scared to see Imp in a 3D remake. Because I'm like, what are they gonna do with the Imp status in the 3D remake? Why did they go with the Imp status over, you know, like, the other statuses that they had, like Honed and, you know, Mini and, you know... Actually, it's mostly just Honed and Mini. You have an idea what it would look like? It'd probably be based off of the concept art they have, too. But, like, it's gonna look very weird to see, like, an Imp Hera. Like, that's gonna look very, very weird. Reflect. It bounces, spells back at the enemy. So, Reflect wears off after some time, so... I mean, I never really use Reflect. I'm gonna be real, I don't use Reflect. He is very good against the Magic Master because he always just throws spells at you, I believe. I think. But ultimately, Reflect, you're not really gonna be using Reflect. Yeah, it ends up more of a detriment. It really, really does. And if you're worried about magic, then, you know, Celis. Just use Celis. Celis takes care of most magic in the game. So it costs 22 MP, and you can only learn it from Carbuncle at times 5 rate. So yeah, just use Celis. She deals with Reflect, or with most magic. Cell. So Cell reduces magic damage by 33%, if I recall. It's basically the magic version of Protect. Again, a very good spell to have. It costs 15 MP. You can learn it at Heims Rate from Carbuncle, Heims 5 Rate from Sona Seeker, Heims 10 Rate from Alexander, Heims 1 Rate from Unicorn, and Heims 5 Rate with a Force Shield. So I would highly recommend get Cell whenever you get for Hack, because they're both very valuable. Banish! This spell. This spell is the cost of the I win button in Final Fantasy VI SNES and PlayStation. It inflicts the invisible status on the target. What that means is physical attacks will always miss, but magic attack will always hit. And when you get hit by magic attack, invisible wears off. In the SNES and PlayStation version, this removes resistances whose status effects. I think it might only be to death though. So you can just instantly defeat anything in the game using this. For the most part, I never use Banish. When you fight the Gigantos at the floating continent, this makes you instantly win. And you would use this through Phantom anyways, to make yourself invisible. So, I mean, you know. Or, say, you use Berserk on an enemy, then you would use Invisible to just, you know, make that enemy useless. Like, say, Magic Master. Start the fight by casting, Re-raise on everyone, and summon Stones or Phantom after you use Berserk on him, and you win! You learn this at Heims 3 Rate for Phantom, Heims 10 from Cactar in the GBA version, and Celis naturally learns it at level 48. Haska. So why use Haste when you get Haska? Again, I'm gonna say this right now, Haste is not that good in the active battle system, in active mode. It's way better in wait than in active. It costs 38 MP, you learn it at Heims 2 Rate from Quetzali, Heims 5 Rate from Cactar, and Celis naturally learns it at level 52. But yeah, Haste is not really that great in this game, unless you play on wait. And then you get Sloga. Sloga halves the speed of all enemies. It targets all enemies. Costs 26 MP, has a hit rate of 150, and you learn it at Heims 2 Rate from Quetzali. And welcome to the most broken spell in the game, ladies and gentlemen. Osmos is broken. Osmos is insanely broken in this game. So it allows you to drain MP from an enemy and heal your MP. In most cases, this just heals a little bit of MP, right? Not in this game. What it does in this game is it drains MP from the enemy and heals yourself based on the difference between your max MP and current MP. So say you have 999 MP, max MP, and say you have like 1 MP left. You use Osmos, which costs 1 MP, right? So now you have 0 MP when you cast Osmos. You just drained 999 MP from the enemy. Assuming they have that much. I always use Osmos to restore MP. Because Osmos is just broken. It just lets you get MP back like all the time. It also, you know, makes some enemies a lot easier to deal with. But yeah, Osmos is just, it's broken. This is what you use with Ultima to keep Ultimaing and, you know, quicking. It has a hit rate of 150, You learn it at a high score rate from Sega and a high speed rate from Sona Seeker. Get this as soon as you can. It will help you so much, I swear. Teleport. This allows you to escape from battles and allows you to teleport out of dungeons. Very, very handy. I highly recommend getting this spell. Teleport is always a good spell. It costs 20 MP. You learn it at times 2 rate from Carbuncle, times 10 rate from Fenrir, times 20 rate from Cactar, and Hera naturally learns it at level 26. And we have the Broken Quick spell. So if you remember Quick from Final Fantasy V, it allows you to do 2 actions in the same turn without interruption. So Quick is still the exact same way in this game. It now costs 99 MP instead of 77 MP. So you get 2 actions. So you use Quick, and then you use Ultima, and then you go, Ultima. Pretty much. Because you cannot use Quick as your, second action. I believe. You learn this from, Raigen at times 1 rate, so you need to get Raigen, you need to sacrifice Ogun to get Raigen, and Gilgamesh teaches it at times 1 rate. Gilgamesh is only a GBA version of the game. Because, of course, they had to shove Gilgamesh into everything. And, finally, Dispel. So, doesn't really tell you what it removes. What it really does, and I never really use Dispel very much, because I never see a reason to use Dispel, to be honest. But, it removes Invisible, which, I mean, you can remove Invisible by hitting them with any spell, so what good is that? Image, Berserk, Regen, Slow, Haste, Stop. Why does it remove Stop and not Esna? I don't know. Cell, Protect, Reflect, Re-Raise, and Float. So yeah, you know how you get hit by Stop? And you're like, why doesn't Esna cure it? It's because Dispel does. I don't know why Dispel does, and not Esna. Yeah, it doesn't. They fixed that from the GBA and onwards. So this costs 25 MP, and you learn it at times 2 rate from Unicorn, times 10 from Alexander, and Hera naturally learns it at level 37. And finally, there is one additional spell in the GBA version called Valor, which costs 20 MP, and you learn it at times 5 rate from Gilgamesh. So Valor makes it so that the next physical attack that character does triple damage. Which, I mean, ultimately, that's kinda useless, I feel. I feel that's really not that great. It's kinda just like, why use that when I could just, Ultima? I'm just gonna Ultima. Because by the time you get there, it's like, you have better spells than, all of that. And that is all the magic. It took me an hour to go over all the magic. Oh my god. I might not get to the, dungeons today. Because I do have something else that, I have planned for after this. You can actually use the spell from here for some reason. Espers! I do want to do that. So, Ramu! Okay, it's in order. Ramu! This is what all you can learn from Ramu. He does lightning elemental damage to all enemies with a spell power of 50. So it's about as strong as Thundera. Yeah, I hate that empty slot. That's where Ogun was. You have to sacrifice Ogun to get Raigan, and I hate that they didn't just replace Ogun's slot with Raigan. So this is... The problem with Espers is that you can only summon them once per round. So yeah, this is a... Yeah, that was Ogun. Yeah, empty slot. You get empty slot. So, yeah, like, this is an AoE Thundera that doesn't do split damage, I believe, but, like, you only get to use it once per fight. I mean, it is 25 MP, that's about as much as Thundera, honestly. So, I don't know, I never used the Espers. Maybe I should try a run where I use Espers. I just never do. Because it's like, I could just be doing anything else that's probably better, I feel. I'm also cheap when it comes to using spells, so, you know. And when you level up with this, here's the thing. Some Espers give you additional stat boosts whenever you level up with them. In Ramuh's case, he gives you stamina +1. So stamina... You don't want stamina to go over 128, because if you do that, it doesn't work properly. It actually becomes a detriment. Honestly, I wouldn't even worry about stamina. Stamina's like... It's the one stat you can really ignore, in all honesty. Kieran! You can summon Fauna and heal you. Actually, all Kieran does is, it gives the higher party regen. Which, I mean, meh. It's not really that good, because regen's not really that great. It costs 18 MP to use, too. And it doesn't even give you any, level up bonus, so ultimately, Kieran's not really that good. Kieran kinda sucks. Kieran kinda really sucks. Give me just a second, if you will. And then you get Siren. Siren inflicts silence to all enemies. I mean, it has a success rate of 136. Costs 16 MP, but like, Siren's not really that great. I mean, that plus 10% HP bonus is kinda really good. Not gonna lie. Siren is a starter, summon. I almost said starter Pokemon. But, yeah, you're not really using Siren at all in battles. She's not really that good. Now, Kate Sif here, or Cat Sif, inflicts confuse all enemies at 28 MP, which, not really that good. You're not really gonna use that. However, that level up bonus is very good. You want to be, given magic boost whenever you can. Ifrit, you get Ifrit and Shiva after beating them in the, Max Edwards Research Facility. Ifrit does, fire elemental damage, spell power of 51. So it's basically a fire spell. While Shiva's a spell power of 52, and is basically a Glisara spell. So, I like how Shiva doesn't give a level up bonus, but Ifrit does. Strength +1 isn't bad. Strength +1 is always good to have whenever you don't have MP, you know. But ultimately, you're almost always going to have MP, so I don't know. I would still recommend put this on anyone that you want to be a physical fighter. Like, I don't know, it might be good on, like, Cayenne. The spells, I mean, Fyra is the best you're going to get from Ifrit. Shiva has Glisara, Ravs, Osmos. These are all very good spells. Well, Rask is more, niche. Osmos is very good. Masara is good. Cure is also good. But, I mean, you're gonna have Cure way before than I would hope from, Kieran. Unicorn. These are all from the, Max Ec Research Facility. Unicorn's kind of like Esuna. It cures blind, poison, petrify, silence, confuse, sap, sleep, slow, and stop the party. So it's an AoE Esuna, also cures stop, which I mean, you know, that's very nice. At the cost of 30 MP. No level up bonus, but it does teach you a lot of very good spells. The spell's like the weakest one here. We don't really care about the spell. We care about Esuna, Cura, Protect, and Sell. Cura mostly here. Magdalene. If you're trying to get multiple characters level up with magic, you're gonna have them with Cat Seath and Magdalene. So Magdalene's very good. You learn the elementals, level 2 elemental spells at times 3 instead of times 5, but they're all on one character. Magdalene does non-elemental damage to all enemies at 44 MP. It has a power of 55, so it's a little bit stronger than the level 2 elemental spells. By just a little bit. I never used this, honestly. And then Calglepis also has HP plus 10%. It inflicts Petrify to all enemies at the cost of 45 MP. It has a success rate of 96 and will fail on enemies immune to instant death. So, honestly, Break is the only good thing to get from Calglepis. I mean, Bio's not bad, but Break is going to be useful later on. And, Phantom here gives you MP plus 10%, so if you really want to get more MP, you can, you know, use Phantom. Banus is the best thing to get from Phantom. Bio's okay, yeah. So Phantom casts Banus on the higher party. Well, basically 20 more MP than Banus. That's basically all it does. That's not a bad deal. Especially if you end up berserking an enemy, and then you use this after berserking them, so they can no longer hit you. So, it depends on how you go about using this. I never used Berserk, though, so, you know. Carbuncle casts Reflect on the higher party for 36 MP. I don't use Reflect. I don't. I never have a reason to. Again, like we said before, it's very detrimental. So the best things to get here is Teleport, Protect, Sell, and Haste. We don't really care about Reflect. Bismarck does water elemental damage to all enemies with a power of 58 at the cost of 50 MP. Aside from like Aqua Breath and Aqua Breath, Tsunami, and if it's EVA person, Flood, you don't really have very many options for water. You really don't. Now, the Strength plus 2 is really nice. I would focus on anyone that uses Strength a lot, like Cayenne. You don't really need this on Sapin, believe it or not. Sapin is more magic-based than physical-based. But for Cayenne, it's pretty good for him. Ultimately, the only thing that matters here is Raise. Golem! So Golem's interesting that he protects the party against all physical attacks, using the caster HP when summoned. So, if you have 5,000 HP and you use Golem, he will protect the party up to 5,000 damage more before it ends. That's not bad, but ultimately, like, you only get to use this once. And This also depends on when the enemy decides to use pistols too, so I don't know. Protect and Cura are the most important things. We don't care about the stamina plus 2, that's useless. Sona Seeker. It casts Cell on the higher party at the cost of 3 MP. That's not bad. It's not bad. You can throw this all up at the start of the fight. And it gives you, like, everything really quick. And most importantly, he gives you magic plus 2. That is big. That is a very big magic boost. Whenever a character's gonna level up, I would highly recommend putting this on them. Especially someone like, say, Hera, or Celis, or Realm. They would definitely love this. Seraph. I believe Seraph... I think this is basically a Cura spell on all of the higher party. At the cost of 4 MP. It might be slightly stronger than Cura. It might be a Curaga. I don't remember. So, Seraph is nice for all of these abilities. It's very good to learn them quickly. So, Seraph, I believe you get, I believe you get... Where do you get Seraph? Seraph is from the Max Hack facility, I believe. Oh no, you find it in Sen. You find it in Sen. So, you can buy it in Sen. I believe for, I forget how much, oh, yeah, it's weaker than the Cura spell. So it's useless. So you can buy it in Sen for, I think, 3,000 gil. Or something like that. But in the World of Ruin, you can buy it for like 5 gil. I would highly recommend buying it early on, though, just, you know, so you have it. And it lets you learn these a lot faster, like Cura and Raise. Quetzali. So, all this does is make the higher party use a jump hack. That's all it does. So, I honestly don't know how useful this is. In fact, for 61 MP, I feel like that's not really that good. I feel like it's not really that good of a summon. Now, you do get Haste Gut and Slow Gut from him. Also, Speed +1. I'm actually not sure how much that stat boost matters. Here's the thing, you get Quetzali in the World of Ruins after you go back to the Solitary Island at the beach. So once you get your airship and go back to where you start with Celis and Sid, go to the beach and you'll find this there. Fenrir! I feel like, where do you get Fenrir? I'm trying to remember where you got Fenrir. I don't think Fenrir was part of the, Max... No, when was Fenrir? Oh, Humbaga has him. You have to defeat Humbaga to get Fenrir. So Fenrir puts an image on the higher party. It's basically Blink. So it's 70 MP for you to avoid, 1 or 2 physical attacks outright. I don't think that's really worth the MP cost. However, this is where you get Banis, and Teleport's very nice. But Banis is a very big thing. Also, MP plus 3% is so good, dude. It's so good to get your MP up real quick. We don't really care about Scott. Now the Gomonga, you must defeat him at Nars in the World of Ruins. This is the way to get the August spells. You can learn this from Phoenix faster, but like, this is the only way to get Blissika and Thundica. Also, Magic +2, which is very good. So I feel like Calico Manga is terrible as a summon. It does have a power of 110, but it does fire, ice, and lightning damage, which I never really liked multi-element spells because if they absorb or nullify one of it, I think it just absorbs or nullifies the entire thing. Midgard Stormer. You get this in the Yeti's Cave in Nars. You have to defeat Umaru before you get to keep it. HP plus 30% is a big boost. That is massive. If you want to have a lot of HP, have this on. For now. It does Earth Elemental damage to all enemies. It has a power of 93. The spells are mostly useless. I'm gonna be real. Quake, bad. Tornado, bad. Graphica, very situational. The only reason you want Midgard Stormer is for the level up bonus. Lakshmi. You get Lakshmi after you get Realm back. So, Lakshmi, has a spell power of 34. Costs 74 MP. You can basically just use, Kiraga. And Kiraga will heal better than, Lakshmi will. If I recall. Because this is where you get Kiraga, and it is a very good way to get all of this. We don't care about stamina. Alexander requires you to go to Goma and defeat Retsul. And then you can pick it up after you defeat Retsul. It does holy elemental damage to all enemies with a power of 114 for 90 MP. So it's a little bit weaker than holy. But it hits all enemies. I never use this. I don't use Espers in general, but like, 90 MP is a big chunk of MP. And once you get Ultima, you're never using this ever again. It is nice to get all of these, and Holy, but like, Strength plus 2 is very nice though. Phoenix! It fully revives... No, wait. It revives the all KO party members with 25% max HP. It says fully revives KO party members with a quarter of their max HP. Which is it? Is it a full revive, or is it just... Okay. I was about to say, so... You need to work out better, Wiki. So this is the only way to get re-raised, and I think a rise. It's the faster way to get Kiraga and Faraga, but you want this. You want both of these. Get them. You will get Phoenix after you complete the Phoenix Cave. Get this Esper. You don't care, you do not care about this unless you're in a dire situation. But you want it for these. Definitely these. Bahamut! You get Bahamut after you defeat, Death Gaze. I'm gonna tell you right now, Death Gaze is very annoying to find in, previous versions. It says how you find him here. When you, run into him, and then go find him again, he is now a dark cloud. So you can find him a lot easier in this version. Thank God. So, it's the only way to get Flare. Flare, honestly, is okay. If you don't have, like, anything better like Ultima or Meteor. But the big thing about Bahamut is that HP plus 50%. That is a massive HP boost. And that is exactly how I got so much HP with, you know, everyone. It can, Mega Flare, which does non-elemental, damage on all enemies with power of 92. This right here was Ogun. I believe Ogun gave you speed plus 2. Let me see what Ogun gave. Yeah, speed plus 2. It can pixel oh wow. So it's speed plus 2 if a pixel remaster, it can +1 in all other versions. In addition, he also caught Meteor and ×1 rate. So they make his level up bonus a lot better in this version for some reason. He does instant death at all enemies with a hit rate of 110. And it stalls final attacks for 1 turn, at the cost of summoning MP. No! Ragnarok! You can only get Ragnarok by going to Norse. You need Mog to find it, and then choosing the Magicite of the sword. So, this is the precursor to the Morph ability in Final Fantasy VII. If the enemy is at low enough HP, or actually I don't know if they have to be low on HP, but you can turn them into an item. And this is the best way of getting some things, like the Celestiag. And additional things like, say, I think this is also how you can get more Solar Formasas too, and whatnot. So, it's not bad for that, but it's also very rare you're gonna get the thing that you want to get. This, though, this is what you get Ragnarok for. You get for learning Ultima. Once you get Ultima, you win the game. Everything falls before you. Everything falls before you. Can I just say the summon's awful? Can I just say that the summon is just awful? So, to get Crusader, you must defeat all 8 dragons. So, Red Dragon, Blue Dragon, Ice Dragon, Storm Dragon, Skull Dragon, Gold Dragon, Earth Dragon, and Holy Dragon. 2 of them are in the final dungeon. So you won't get this until pretty much end game. Meltdown, it's useless. You're not using Meltdown. Meteor is okay. But by the time you get Meteor, you probably have Ultima, which supersedes Meteor. MP plus 50% is good though. This ability though. If you use this ability, you're basically game overing. Because it does non-elemental damage to all enemies and allies with a spell power of 190. Why? Just why? Why would you ever use this? Why? I don't get it. And then Raigan has speed plus 2, so Raigan does keep the speed plus 2. And he has a higher chance of doing instant death at 140 as opposed to Ogun's 110 at 80 MV. This is the only way to get quick. So if you want to get the quick spell, you have to sacrifice Ogun, which, I mean, you might as well. You might as well. And that is all the Espers. Or is it? In the GBA version, there are 4 more Espers. So, Leviathan. You have to defeat Leviathan if the serpent's treads in order to get him. He does big water elemental damage to all enemies with a spell power of 130 for 70 MP. Which, I mean, that's better than Bismarck, but you're not really using it for that. He does heats blood at times 2 rate, and he has stamina plus 2 as the level up bonus, which, I mean, ultimately, Leviathan's not really that good. I mean, blood is okay, but like, you're not really using Leviathan at all. And then, the Cactar. So how do you get Cactar? So, there is an area, let me see if I can find it. There's an area. When am I at on this map? Oh, I'm up there, okay. There's an area. If I can find it. I think it's down here. Is it down here? Oh, it's over here. I think. Right here. In this desert, I believe, you can fight Cactars. When you defeat 10 Cactars, I believe, you will fight the Jumbo Cactar. You must defeat the Jumbo Cactar in order to get the summon. Give me just a second. Give me just a second. Yeah, you got to defeat 10 normal Cactars before you can fight him. So, he gives you speed plus 2 on level up. He has teleport at times 20 rate, Vanus at times 10, and haste gun at times 5. And he uses 2 abilities. He will use 1,000 Yields, which does 1,000 damage to all enemies for 50 MP. Or he does 10,000 Yields, question mark, for 9999 damage to all enemies. That's not really helpful, to say the least. That doesn't really do much, because you can do that amount of damage normally by the time you get here. Well, maybe not when you can fight him, but you're going to be doing that much and more. And you don't have gamble. And lastly, well, next is Diablos. He does 15/16 of max HP to all enemies. So he's Tornado for only enemies. It ignores protection and death, and it also inflicts sap. It costs 100 MP to use. Diablos is your reward for defeating Omega Weapon, I believe. Or, no, you gotta defeat the Kaiser Dragon to get him. He just Gravica at times 5, Gravica at times 3, and his level up bonus is HP plus 100%. That's insane! HP plus 100% is insane! However, this is a post-game dungeon, so ultimately, that doesn't really help. Like, at all. And then good old Greg, Gilgamesh. On level up, he has strength plus 2. He's just quick at times 1 and valor at times 5. In order to fight him, you must buy the Excalibur in the Zador auction house after speaking to an NPC account that mentions a rare sword. And then you bet the Excalibur at the Colosseum, and then you must defeat an Onion Gasser, and then after that you must defeat Gilgamesh. So Gilgamesh is a rough fight. I will tell you that right now. He is a pretty rough fight. So he costs 99 MP to summon. And he does 1 of 4 attacks. Which is very similar to Final Fantasy VIII. So he does Excalibur, which does 1 damage to all enemies. Excalibur, which does Holy Elemental damage with a spell power of 120 to all enemies. Masamune, which does non-elemental damage and ignores defense with a power of 99 to all enemies. And then the last one is not what you think. It is Enkidu, which does non-elemental damage to all enemies that ignores defense with a spell power of 200. Here's the thing. That's cool and all, but like, 99 MP for a 1 of 4 shot is bad. You're not going to be using Gilgamesh for anything. At all. They're all kind of bad. Now with that said, ladies and gentlemen, that is all the espers. That is all of the magic. Why don't we talk about the characters? So, I am gonna do like a hero list at some point for like all the characters in terms of how good they are per game. So, Hera. Hera's unique ability is Trance, which halves all damage she takes and increases the damage she does by like double. Which sounds very good on paper. The problem with Trance is you also get Trance after she rejoins the party after the match had research facilities, by the way. The problem with Trance is the amount of time you stay in Trance is equal to the amount of AP she has gained since the last time she used it. So if you haven't fought very many fights between using trances, she will not be in trance for very long. Also, the active system or active mode will completely ruin trance. You need to use it with weight to maximize it. In addition, you can only stock up to 255 AP home for the maximum use of trance. Outside of that, Hera is pretty well balanced in terms of stats. If you want to make her a physical fighter, you can. If you want to make her a magic fighter only, you can. And she has very good equipment options, being able to equip some of the best weapons of the game, like Lightbringer and stuff. Being able to use some of the better shields, better armor. She's got good equipment options. She's just weighed down by trance being kinda a dead option. Especially later in the game when she could just naturally do 9999, making trance kinda useless. I mean, you can use trance to reduce the amount of damage you take, I guess. But ultimately, trance is just, it's not really that good. And she doesn't get any replacement option for trance at all. I'll be right back. I need to go check on Doggo, so BRB. Alright, I am back. But yeah, ultimately, I feel like Hera is one of the better characters. Just for the simple fact that she's able to just equip. Like, her equipment makes her one of the better ones. It's just that her trance kind of sets her lower than some of the other characters. And we will get to those characters in a little bit because some characters have much better secondary effects. Or secondary things. Like Edgar. So Edgar is a pretty decent character. He's very strong early on because he has like really good AoE options. Give me just a second, if you will. 1 second. I'm checking a couple things. And he has very good options with tools. Our crossbow is amazing early on. It is amazing. Anyone else do anything real quick? I'm not seeing anything else going on at the moment. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything else. But yeah, Bio Blaster is also a very solid option. Yeah, Chainsaw. Chainsaw is really good. Honestly, while Chainsaw is very good, I feel like I feel like Drill might be better because you don't risk that 25% chance of instant death. Flash is okay. Flash is okay damage dealer. Noise Blaster is actually pretty good early on. It's good for locking down the enemy and making them, you know, just destroy themselves. But as the game goes on, tools kind of loses their power a little bit. And they start becoming less and less valuable, I feel. I mean, Drill and Chainsaw are still very good later on, but ultimately, I feel like once you get to the World of Ruins, you're probably doing other things with Edgar. Or you're just using, you know, Chainsaw Drill. You're not really using Edgar much for magic here, because his magic stat's not really that great. He's not terrible at it, but ultimately, you're not really using him for magic. Now, he is one of 2 characters that uses spears. And because of that, he's one of 2 characters that get to abuse the jump ability from the Dragoon Boots. And combine that with the Dragon Horde, you can actually get some good damage out of his regular attack with a spear. So he's not bad for jump builds, but you gotta be able to get all the good stuff to be able to do the jump builds. And again, at the end of the game, you're probably Ultima spamming anyway. So Edgar's a pretty decent character, but I don't know. Is he better than Hera? Honestly, you know, I think Edgar is better than Hera. I do think that Edgar's better than Hera. He's got better damage options. He doesn't rely entirely on MP, unlike Hera. I think Hera's better with physical damage at some points than Edgar with the regular attack, but like, Edgar shouldn't be using regular attacks anyway. Like, yeah, I think, yeah, Edgar's better than Hera, by far. In my opinion. We'll get back to Go-Go in a little bit. So, Locke. I'm not really impressed with Locke. Like, I like my thieves and all, but like... I don't really use skill that much in this game, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I use skill a bit early on, but later in the game, I hardly ever use skill. And yeah, you can get Mug. Like, Mug is an option you can do, but... ultimately, like, I never really use it. And, like, until you get the Valiant Knife, if you get both Valiant Knife and Ultimate Weapon, then he becomes a big damage dealer with regular attacks. But, like, without that combo, Locke is kinda not that great of a character, in my opinion. He's kinda just there. He has a command that doesn't really do much unless you use Mug. Yeah, that's one setup, and that's it if you don't get magic, which... imagine doing a no magic run. Dude, oh god, a no magic run sounds awful, dude. Unless you make, them, like, specific to their classes, like, Hera and Celis would be the main magic users. They'd be able to learn all the magic. But only them. I don't know about Realm. No, Realm wouldn't be allowed. So you'd only be able to use, Sketch. Like, ugh. I wonder if I should do a setup like that. That might be an interesting, challenge run. But yeah, like, Locke, kinda way down at the bottom. Until you get Valiant Knife, Ultimate Weapon, Genji Gloves. And, Master Scroll. Once you get that for Locke, then he's a beast. Otherwise, he's not really that good. He's really not. Mog! So Mog has, hold on, let me go here. Mog has, dances. So, you learn, these are all the dances of the game. There's 8 of them. This one right here is the only one you can permanently miss if you don't get this before going to the World of Ruin. This requires you to go through the, Serpent Trends to get this. Everything else you can get any other time in the game. So, these all have, random effects to them. You use the dance, sometimes the dance will fail, and you waste a turn. But you use the dance, then Mog enters a Berserk-like state. And then from there, Mog will randomly use, specific abilities. 1 of 4 abilities. So, for Wind Rongo, give me a second. For Wind Rongo, you have a 7 to 16 chance of using Wind Slash, 6 and 16 for Sunbath, 2 and 16 for Plasma, 1 and 16 for Cockatrice. If you're wondering, Wind Slash does, wind elemental damage that ignores split damage and is unblockable. It has a power of 48, so it's weaker than the, level 2 elemental spells. Sunbath is basically Cura, or, yeah, Cura Kapari. Cockatrice does non-elemental magic damage with power 50 and ignores defense, and inflicts Petrify. And Plasma does, lightning elemental damage to one enemy with a power of 70 and is unblockable. So yeah, that's basically how all of these are. There's a 7 and 16, 6 and 16, 2 and 16, and 1 and 16. Boris Nocturne has Leaf Swirl as the 7 and 16. That does non-elemental max damage to all enemies that is unblockable, ignores split damage, and has a power of 50. 6 and 16 is Forest Healing, which is basically Esena. It's basically the, unicorn summon. Cures, blind, poison, petrify, silence, confuse, sap, sleep, slow, and stop. And then Will of the Wisp is 2 and 16, which, does fire elemental damage on one enemy, is unblockable, and has a power of 72. So it's a lot stronger than, Fire. And then the last one, the 1 in 16, is Wombat, which does non-elemental damage on one enemy, does not hit flying enemies, ignores defense, is unblockable, and has a spell power of 88. So, like, the thing about these abilities is, they're not terrible, but you gotta know when to use them. And you gotta hope that, Mog doesn't, fail to use it at all. And you gotta hope that Mog uses the right abilities. So I really don't like Gams. I really don't. So Desert Lullaby. The highest one is Sandstorm. It does wind elemental damage to all enemies with power of 48 and hit rate of 100, and ignores split damage. After that is Antlion, which does death on one enemy. And then it is Wind Slash and Meerkat, which Meerkat casts haste on all allies. That's all it does. And Love Serenade. The highest one is Will of the Wisp, followed by Apparition, which does, it inflicts confuse on one enemy, and it fails on anything immune to confusion, which, woo. And then after that is Snare. Snare is very good early on, that's how you, seize the boss at the start of the game. It inflicts death on one enemy. It stalls final attacks for one turn, and it does work on undead. So nice! And then the last thing is Hapier. Yes, you can summon a Hapier. Summon Nimi. So this thing is honestly pretty good. It cures, blind, salty, poison, imp, petrify, doom, silent, berserk, confuse, sap, sleep, slow, and stop. And if the target is sleeping, it will have their HP and MP fully restored, even if they're undead. Hapier is really good. That is an amazing ability. Thank you, Nimi. Thank you for healing the party. And then next you have Earth Blues. So the highest one here is Rock Slide. Bijou is gonna rock you in. Rock, whatever. You know what I mean. So it's gonna rock you. It does non-elemental max damage on one enemy with a spell power of 65. It's unblockable and it ignores defense. After that, it's Sonic Boom. Sonic Boom! Which reduces one enemy's HP by 5/8 of its max HP. Inflict Sap is unblockable but fails against those immune to death. I never use Dance here because I like keeping control of my characters. And then after that is Sunbath, and then the rare one is Boar Brigade. It does non-elemental max damage on one enemy with a spell power of 53. It's unblockable, ignores defense, but does not hit flying enemies. Water Harmony! The most common one here is El Nino. It does water elemental damage on all enemies, is unblockable, ignores split damage, and has spell power of 61. After that, it's Plasma, followed by Apparition, and then Raccoon. Raccoon restores HP to everyone, with spell power power of 100, so it's better than Curaga. And it cures Blind, Soppy, Poison, Petrify, Doom, Silent, Berserk, Confused, Sap, Sleep, Slow, Stop, and Frozen. Very good, but it's a 1 to 16 chance, so you know. Twilight Requiem. So the common one is Cave-In, which does reduces one target's HP by 3/4 of its current amount, and inflicts sap. It's unblockable, but fails on target's immune to instant death. After that, it's Snare, followed by Will o' the Wisp, and the rare one is Poisonous Frog, which does poison elemental damage and poison one enemy. It's unblockable, and it has spell power of 56. And finally, Snowman Rondo. The common ability is Snowball, which reduces the target's HP by half, but it fails on target's immune to death. After that, it uses Avalanche, which does ice elemental damage to all enemies, ignores split damage, is unblockable, and has a spell power of 55. And then it uses Snare, and finally, the rare ability is Arctic Hair, which restores HP to allies with a spell power of 60. So about Curaga. So that is Mog. You can also use Mog as a jumper, because he's the other character that uses jumps. Ultimately, I feel like Mog is not a very good character, because Dance is not really that good. Mog also gets to use the Malulu's charm, which turns random encounters off, which is very nice. I do like Mog for that. Would be nice to have it for any character, but ultimately, you know, I mean, that makes Mog a little bit more valuable. He also gets to use the Snow Scarf, which is like the best armor in the game for defense. But really, I don't think Mog is really that good. I feel like Mog is very, very lacking. Go back. Oh boy, boys! It's our boy Sapin. So, Sapin is, Sapin is amazing. I feel like Sapin, personally, is one of the best characters in the game. One of the best characters in the game. Now, you would be correct in assuming that because he's a monk, that he would be high physical damage. That's where you're absolutely wrong. Blitz relies on magic. Now, some abilities do rely on physical stats. For example, Raging Fist. Raging Fist here does physical damage. So this does rely on the downside is you have to wait to learn them in Pixel Remaster. You have to wait to learn them in general. What are you talking about? You have to wait to learn them outright in any version. Yes. Yes, you do. You can't just use them out the get-go. Yes, it is Pummel with the SNES version. And he starts with this. He says Sapin learns new blitzes as he levels up. Oh wow, so when the game is played with 2 players of the SNES and PS version, if one player presses any buttons while the others attempt to do a blitz, the blitz will fail. Wow, so you could just get screwed over by the other player. But no, you learn them by leveling up. You can't just do it without, leveling up. Anyways, are you sure? I don't think you can. I don't think you can do it without, leveling up. I played gold versions too. I don't recall you being able to do that. Hold on, I know who asked. I will ask. I guarantee. I think you're having a burn skin effect. I feel like no, I don't think you. I don't think you can. I don't think you can. UCBG never mentioned that. Look, You Can Beat Video Games has never mentioned that. And I'm pretty sure that if he never mentioned it, then you can't do it as an SNES person. Because I'm very positive if he would have mentioned that. And I don't think you can. I think you're being delulu. You're being delulu! Anyways, Raging... I think you're being delulu! Anyways, Raging Fist. This does physical damage on one enemy and ignores defense with a power of 110. So battle power, not max power. So this relies on physical strength. And you do this with left, right, left. Hurricane, or Hadouken, or Senku Hadouken, whatever, does holy elemental magic damage on one enemy. It has a power of 68. And you learn this at level 3. So, Hurricane is a very good ability. It's very good against undead. You would be using earrings for that. Meteor Strike is right trigger, left trigger, down up A. It does physical damage on one enemy with a battle power of 180, which is half if there is more than one enemy. That is a weird effect. Why is it half if there's more than one enemy? What? That's a thing? Why is it half? And it does fail on some enemies because some enemies are immune to it. You learn this at level 10. So I never really used Meteor Strike. I don't use Meteor Strike except on a train. Because, you gotta. You see a train, you feel the urge, suplex it. Rising Phoenix is a half-circle forward motion. So it's like a Psycho Ball. It does fire elemental magic damage to all enemies with a spell power of 42. And it ignores split damage. You learn this at level 15. Meteor Strike is honestly back. Yeah, it is back. It is fun, though. I do like using Rising Phoenix. Rising Phoenix is very good for AoE damage. You combine this with Edgar's auto crossbow, and there's just AoE going everywhere. All the time. Chakra, RL, down up. You learn this at level 23. So, Chakra is interesting. So, it heals other party members equal to Sappin's current HP, divided by the number of other party members. So if you have four party members, it takes Sappin's current HP and divides it by 4. Let's see for the half circle. No, it's left, left, down, right, right. You can see it with left, down, down, right, right. For Hurricane, if you have trouble, it's down, down, left. There are shortcuts for all of these, so yes. If you're having trouble with the emotions. So, yeah. In addition to the HP heal, it also cures blind, poison, silence, and sap. Now, I don't know if this ever got fixed. I need to check this. But due to a glitch, if Sappin is confused and uses chakra when there is one enemy, they are healed for 9,999 HP. Interesting little glitch. I don't know why that happens, but it happens. This, I'm gonna say, is a very weird input. This is a really weird input. You start with the hop, do a circular motion and back. So hop forward, down, back. If you want to do this easier, like I do, you hit up, up, right, right, down, down, left. So yeah, up, up, right, right, down, down, left is all you need to do for that, if I recall. So this does wind elemental damage to all enemies, with a spell power of 78, is magic based, and it ignores split damage. You learn this at level 30. RL up, down, right, left for Soul Spiral. I never used this ability. I feel like this ability is kind of bad. Like, I feel like this is honestly an awful ability. Like, yeah, you sacrifice Sappin, it removes him from battle, and sends his HP MP as 0. So, you're one character sword for the rest of the fight. I don't think that's really worth it. You learn this at level 42. It restores HP and MP of everyone in the party in full, I believe. And it cures blind, salty, poison, imp, petrified, doom, silence, berserk, confused, sap, sleep, slow, stuck, and frozen. So it's a full party heal, but you lose Sappin, which, you know, that's a really big deal. And ultimately, Phantom Rush. This is a half or a 360 starting from back. Or you can do left, left, up, up, right, right, down, down, left. So this does major non-elemental magic damage. Not physical, magic. In one enemy with a power of 128. And it ignores max defense. So, you can learn this in one of 2 ways. You learn it at level 70. Or, the smart way to do it is find Dokken's Cavern and have Sappin in your party. So, when you go to Dokken's Cavern and you go get Phantom Rush, you will learn all other, I think you learn all other blitzes too. So that is Sappin. So, early on, Sappin is going to be using, a lot of Hurricane and Rage and Fist. And then he's going to be mostly using Rising Phoenix and Razor Gale. And then you're going to be, just Phantom Rushing. That's all he's going to do. He's going to Phantom Rush you. Sago. So, before I go any further, I think Sappin's probably one of the better characters in the game. I really do. In fact, I think he's probably one of the best characters in the game, personally. That's just me, though. Sago, on the other hand, I mean, Sago can do damage, with Grow. He really can. The problem is that he's very expensive to upkeep, I feel. And he's like in your party for like maybe a quarter of the game. Like, you really don't get to use Shadow very much. And he feels underwhelming. Now, Shadow does have a special gimmick in Interceptor. There's a chance when he hates damage, it'll get blocked by Interceptor, and Interceptor will either do hate down or I forget what the other thing is. One does a lot more physical damage than the other. But ultimately, like, it's not really that good. You know, I just thought about it. Shadow is basically the precursor to Renoa. Because a lot of things that, yeah, like, Interceptor is just Angelo. Because, like, the Interceptor gimmick is, Angelo's, Angelo's strike and whatnot. Angelo's just a better Interceptor. What do you mean, when's limit breaks? I mean, I already showed off all the desperation apps. And being honest, the desperation apps in this game are kind of just... they're not worth it. Like, I don't even really need to talk about them because they're all very similar. Either they do insane amounts of damage or they do instant death. And the only way of using them is when you're at like very, very low HP. I think over 55 seconds have passed, and you use the attack command. So it's like, it's a very low chance of happening. I had it happen once during this playthrough when I did this game way back when, and it was with Hera of all characters. So because I just do Riot Blade, I was like, whoa! That's not something I was expecting. But yeah, Celis. Celis, I think, is a better Hera. I feel like Hera's better in terms of physical damage. And, they're both on par for magic, but... in terms of usability, I feel like Celis is a lot better. Because Runic is, honestly, pretty good. If you run into an enemy or boss that is very magic reliant, assuming that you can absorb the spell, then Celis is going to suck down that enemy very easily. The downside is you're basically never going to hack with Celis ever. If you do that. That's the only downside. But really, I mean, still, it's better for Trance. So honestly, I would put Celis on the same rank as Hera. If not slightly above Hera, just because of Runic. But Hera might also be slightly above Celis just because she's more evenly she's more evenly distributed with physical magic damage. Cyan. Cyan. Or Cayenne, whichever you prefer. So, Cayenne... yes, Hera's stats do cap, yeah. Cayenne is an interesting little, situation. So, in earlier versions of, this game, Busiko was kinda just bad. It was honestly really, really bad. Because you would have to build up a meter, and if you wanted a specific level, like level 6, you had to wait until that meter got to level 6, and then press the button then. And while all of that is going on, you cannot select any other commands. Now, you just pick the ability, which is infinitely better. I am so glad that they made Cayenne better, because I do like him. It's just that, you know, even so, he's still not super great, I feel. He's a lot better now, but he's still not super great. So, let's look at his skill. So, Fang. This does physical damage to one enemy with a battle power of 120, ignores defense, and is unblockable. He starts with it. So this is a very solid ability. Especially at the time that you get him. The only downside is you can't control who he attacks. So he might attack someone you don't want him to attack. Still, it's very, very, very strong. I'm being attacked. Sky. So, this allows Cayenne to do a single counter and one physical attack. With a non-elemental magic attack, with a spell power of 56, it ignores defense and is unblockable. Now, an interesting thing about this skill is if the SNES or PlayStation person, this is this is part of the Psycho Cyan bug, where Cyan will just go crazy and do mad damage as an imp if you do it correctly. Only if the SNES PlayStation person. Yeah, it's F here in OG. It's really, really bad in all the other versions. In this version, it's so much better because you just pick the ability. You learn this at level 6. Iger! You learn this at level 12. It halves the HP of one enemy and inflicts sap, and it's unblockable, but fails on targets immune to death. I mean, it's basically just a gravity spell. It allows you to use gravity before gravity. But I mean, I would rather be doing damage than, you know, relying on this. And you can't control who it's hitting. Flurry! Oh boy, Flurry. It does 4 physical attacks against random enemies. And each hit is unblockable with a power of 72. You learn this at level 15. So this is honestly a very, very good skill at the time you get it. Especially when you're fighting a single enemy. You just broke this out, it's like 4 attacks. Just bap, 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 bap. Pretty good. Dragon! If you have Tiger, you have Dragon! Learned at level 24. So, if you remember the Lancet spell from Final Fantasy V, which is from the Dragoon, this is basically that spell. It drains HP MP from one enemy and heals undead. So it reverses it hurts him and heals the enemy if they're undead. It's a magic base, by the way, so it's gonna be worse for him because his magic sucks. For the HP damage, the power is 49. For MP damage, the power is 12. I don't think you're gonna be using Dragon. It's not really good at all. Eclipse! This does non-elemental max damage and stop to all enemies. The stop has a hit rate of 140. The spell itself has a power of 97, is unblockable, and ignores split damage. The multi-hit one, that is Flurry and Tempest. You learn Eclipse at level 34. So, if you like Flurry, Tempest is a better Flurry, I believe. Let me look. Yes, Tempest is a better Flurry. So it's the same exact thing as Flurry, except it has 2 less battle power. However, in addition to what Flurry does, this also ignores defense. So this is where Cyan is going to be doing all his big stuff. Yes. You learned this at level 44. And Son Hexagon. That's basically what this is. This is Son Hexagon. You learned this at level 70. It inflicts death to all enemies. It has a hit rate of 182, so it's very, very high hit. And it works on undeads. And it stalls the enemy's final attacks for 1 turn. But it will fail on targets immune to death. So, you can wait until level 70 to get all of these abilities, or you can go to Goma and do Cayenne's side quest there in order to unlock all of the Blue Seagulls, which is, you know, the best way of doing it. So, Tempest is the way to handle Cayenne. It's just good. It ignores defense, it's unblockable, and it's 4 hits. Just be sure to kit him out with high attack. Give him any experts that give him high strength bonuses. Like Alex, well, you're not going to have Alexander before it, but like, Alexander's really good because it's +2 strength. Anything that gives him high attack. You want high attack on him. Oh, gal. Oh, gal. Oh, gal. Oh, gal. Oh, gal. This character is complicated. He's a blue mage, effectively, but a different type of blue mage. The way Gal works is, in order to get new abilities for his rages, you need to go to the belt and have Gal jump on specific enemies, or use leap. He will learn abilities from that enemy group, and from the enemy group that he comes back on. I mean, here's the thing. Yes, Stray Cat is what you use for Gal. You want to get Stray Cat. That is your go-to with Gal, because Cat Scratch does ×4 physical damage, which is very good. So if you're going to go the Stray Cat route, you are more than likely going to want to, you're going to want to, spec into strength. Give me just a second, if you will. Also, Gal has no desperation attack, by the way. I'm seeing if there's anything else you could do with Gal. Oh, so, apparently, his, rages are not affected by Master Scrolls or Genji Glove anymore. So those are, no longer a thing you could do with this. Unfortunately. I'm looking to see if there's anything, yeah, the other thing is you can't control him either. So, much like Mog, once you use a rage, he's just using that forever, which isn't really ideal to me. So, Stray Cat is a very popular, skill for him. Apparently, Magic Urn is another rage that is very good for him. Magic, I don't know why the, Magic, oh. So Magic Urn makes it so that Gal absorbs all elemental damage and allows Gal to use Curaga. So that is why you want Magic Urn. Interesting. That's actually very scary. That's very scary. Says, I absorb all elemental damage, and I use Curaga. Apparently, in the SNES version, there was a strategy called, Wind God Gal. You equip him with a merit award and let him use the Kazakiri. And you use it with a Stray Cat, which allows him to have 4 times every turn. And if he uses a Cat Scratch, it also triggers Wind Slash. And Wind Slash has increased power due to Cat Scratch. Oh my god. Good god. Oh god, that's actually kind of disgusting. It was supposed to auto-crit. So yeah, if you're gonna use Gal, keep in mind, if you're trying to get all the rages, there's like 250 rages, have fun. I never got all of them. I think it's on my console, but, you know, I never get it on, like, GBA or whatnot, because it's just ridiculous, dude. Getting every single rage of the game is awful. It's bad. And, you know, trying to do a rage video would be even worse, because I gotta sit there and see, hey, is it gonna use this ability? Is it gonna use this ability? And, you know, some of the abilities kind of just, overlap, so doing a rage video would be not really worth it. So, if you're gonna use Gal, get Magic Urn, which requires you to go to the Power Fanatic to beat a Magic Urn, and then go to, or that's World of Ruin. In World of Balance, fight a Stray Cat. Yeah, they are all documented, so I don't have to worry about that. Stray Cat is all you're really gonna use with Gal. That's really it. You don't really need anything else with Gal. You're gonna become feral, and you know, use it. And it's funny because in all other spin-offs that Gal's in, Stray Cat is like the ability he always gets to. They know about the Stray Cat. The man, the myth, the legend. Setzer Gabbiani. So, by the way, with Gal's easily one of the better characters, but like, because you can't control him and he's limited by like one thing only, he's not, he kind of drops a bit. It depends on how much value you put into cat raids. So, Mr. Setzer. This was they fixed this in the Pixel Remaster, I believe, but in the SNES and PlayStation version, you can actually cheat the slots and always get Joker Doom or Game Over or whatever. So you could cheat his slots. You can't really cheat his slots very well in this version of the game, from what I know. So, let's talk about slots first and foremost. That's his main gimmick. So, slots is... it can be good, but it's also hard to use properly. So, let's go over what you get. So, any losing combination will give you Mysidian Rabbit. It restores it has a spell power of 10, so it heals about as much as Cure at the party. It also cures blind, poison, and sleep. In addition, it does not damage the undead, and it does not ignore max defense, meaning a character with high max defense is healed for less. So it's a very bad ability. If you get 3 diamonds, you get Prismatic Flash, which does non-elemental max damage to all enemies with a spell power of 84. So that's stronger than even like the level 2 elemental spell. It's stronger than Bio, which is pretty good, honestly. If you get 3 Chocobos, you get Chocobo Stampede, which does non-elemental max damage to all enemies, ignores defense and split damage, and misses on flying enemies. It has a spell power of 36. So I actually don't know if that's better than Prismatic Flash, honestly. It might be, but I'm not sure. If you get 3 airships, you use Dive Bomb, which does non-elemental max damage to all enemies with a power of 130. So as you can see, for Setzer, you want to do magic build for him, because all of his slots are magic based. If you get 3 birds, you use Mega Flare. So it does non-elemental max damage to all enemies with a power of 92 and ignores split damage. So that is really good if you can get that consistently. And then if you get 3 bars, you get Summon. So it summons a random Esker besides Ogun and Raigan. And if it's Mimic, it calls the same Esker as before. I'm gonna be real. That's dangerous. Because what if you get Crusader? If you get Crusader, you lose. Speaking of losing, if you get a 7/7 bar, you get Joker's Death, which kills your party and ignores immunity to death. What's hilarious about this and the other versions of Joker's Death, Setzer can learn, or Strago can learn level 5 death from this. I guess this is just level 5 death's coding, but, you know, without the level 5 gimmick. I don't know why he learns level 5 death from this, but he can. And if you somehow get 777, you kill all enemies. It ignores immunity to death, and apparently you cannot use it against some enemies because the reels will never line up. So players found a way to get around this by getting the 7/7 bar by inflicting Confuse on Setzer. So when Setzer is confused and uses that version of Joker's Death, it will kill the boss. So you can use that to defeat Kefka that way. You can. I kind of figure you couldn't use blitzes. I didn't think you could in the SNES PlayStation version. Also, hello, Locke. So, Setzer can replace his slots command with the Guild Haas by equipping the Hexy's G, or Hexy's G. I don't know how you say that name. It allows you to use the throw money to do damage, but ultimately it's not really a very good ability. It's ultimately not a very good ability. I don't know, hey, I don't know, I feel like it's not something you can really do. Yeah, do it yourself. Prove it to me. I want you to prove it to me. Because, like, that doesn't sound correct. Give me a second. So what you would do in a lot of FF6 versions is to manipulate RNG. You would use an echo screen, and during the animation of echo screen, you can get 777. You need to use echo screen at the beginning of the battle, which allows the use of every slot ability. Now, the enemies that are immune to Joker's, who the 777 person is Ymir, Vargas, Ultros, Opinicus Fist, and Visipass, Siva, Guardian when he's invincible, Hyphone, Dolahan if it's GVA person, Humbaba, Behemoth King, the living person, Sakarnook, Red Soul and Soul Saver, and the higher Statue of the Gods fight. Kefka himself is not immune to 777, hilariously enough. So where would I put Setzer? Honestly, if you're able to manipulate the slots and get 777 every time you need it, Setzer's the best character of the game. But if you cannot do that, then Setzer's like one of the worst characters in the game. Honestly, I think Setzer might be the worst character in the game. No, there's a couple others that are worse than Setzer, honestly. But, like, ultimately, yeah, Setzer is below Locke in terms of, yeah. Locke is better than Setzer because at least Locke has a good setup for damage later in the game. And, I mean, Locke does have some decent weapons with, like, boomerangs and stuff, but, like, Setzer? He's not that good. Even with Fixed Dice. Fixed Dice is not that great. So yeah, Setzer is basically a D. Oh boy! It's our resident blue mage! So Strago! Strago. He is an interesting fella. He is a blue mage. Do I consider him one of the better, Locke can also use most Night Swords? That is true. He does have pretty good, options in terms of, equipment. So, Strago is a resident blue mage. Unlike other blue mages who have to be hit by blue magic to learn it, Strago does not. Strago just has to see the spell used. As long as he's not under status like blind, sleep, etc., all of those. Now, fun fact, Strago can learn lores from Gal and from Realm. So if you're having trouble getting lores from specific enemies, you might want to use Realm with a sketch or Gal with rages to learn the lores. Excuse me. Something killed me there. Oh god. My bad, sorry. Alright, so Doom. Influence Doom. I'm gonna be honest. Doom is useless in this game. Doom is actually more useful in FF7. That's probably where Doom's the most useful is FF7. You're never gonna use Doom here. You're just not. You learn this from Ahriman, Alluring Rider, Dark Force, Death Worgen. I'm also gonna mention some GVA enemies here. Kaiser Dragon, Nanaka, Plague, Rest, Skull Dragon, the first time, Still Life, Yojimbo, and Zombie Dragon. You don't really need the spell. It's kinda pointless. Even more pointless is this God Blessing spell. Yeah, like, I put Hera and Celis a bit higher than Locke because, like, Hera can, you know, she's more balanced with her physical magic stats. But, like, Hera can do a lot more damage early on compared to Locke with Trance. But Trance is kind of just not that good here. Celis is a little bit better than Hera, I feel, because Runic is more useful. But that also makes Celis unable to do anything. Honestly, I don't think Locke is the worst character. I think Setzer's worse than Locke. Like, Locke can do some good damage with Valiant Knife and Ultimate Weapon. At least Hera's good early game. Yeah, Hera is good early game. And she's good with her magic damage, but yeah. Yeah, I did mention that with the Echo Screen. You can't use Echo Screen. You can't do the Echo Screen trick here in Pixel Remaster. I think they fixed it because I couldn't get it to work very nicely. I could not get him to work very nicely with the Echo Screen trick. I don't know how good Coin Toss actually is, because I don't really use it. Yeah, I mean, Fitz Dice is pretty good, but, like, it's also random. And by the point you get Fitz Dice, I mean, you can Ultima spam too, I think. I mean, Fitz Dice with, Genji Gloves might be okay. But yeah, Setzer is the best character in the game if you can manipulate his slots. Otherwise, he's kind of just not that good. Straco, I think, is better than Hera and Celis because his lures are actually pretty good. I mean, yeah, it doesn't get cut in half like other weapons, but, like, you're also, I mean, you're gambling. You're using Setzer. Of course you're gambling. Like, of course you're gambling with a fixed dice. Let's see. But yeah, Roulette. Roulette is awful. Why would you use the spell? Roulette is like... Yeah, I've had that happen a lot where he rolled one, so I'm just like, bro, Setzer, this is why you get benched. So, Roulette randomly inflicts death to one enemy or ally. Why would you ever use this? I don't know. You could just use death. That would be better. You learn this with Armored Dolahan, Armorman, Alluring Rider, Dark Force, Nalapa, Unite, and Plague. Tsunami! So, Tsunami is one of your very rare water spell. It does water max damage with a power of 50. It ignores split damage too, so you learn this from both Blue Dragons, Dark Force, Inuo, Kaiser Dragon, Leviathan, Masker Hogberry, Omega Weapon, and Ultima Buster. So, this is a very good spell if you can get early on. I think the earliest you could get this is in, yeah, it has to be in World of Ruins to get this. It's still a very solid spell. However, you start with probably the best spell for him. Aqua Breath is amazing. So Tsunami has a power of 50. Aqua Breath has a power of 71. So you start with a spell that's just stronger than later spells. This does water and wind elemental max damage to all enemies. So, I don't know how many enemies are immune or absorb water or wind or both. So this might be a problem there, but this is still a very strong spell. And he starts with this. For some reason, there's a list of enemies that you can learn it from, but like, you start with it. Why is that listed? And then Arrow. Arrow has a power of 125. So this is stronger than Aqua Breath, but it also costs almost double MP. So weigh your options if this is better than Aqua Breath. It does wind elemental max damage to all enemies. And you can learn this from Dark Force, Death Gaze, Demon, Gilgamesh, Gorgamera, Kaiser Dragon, Max Dragon, Marxosius, Omega Weapon, Sprinter, both Storm Dragons, Tyrannosaur, and Kasagayata. So, weigh your options. Do you want to do a little bit more damage but at double the cost with Arrow, or do you want to use less MP for a little bit less damage with Aqua Breath? So, let me ask you guys, does anyone ever use this spell in any FF game? It's a constant blue max spell. But like, it feels like it's just a filler spell. Because I never see a reason to use this. In this game, it's expensive. It's 50 MP. And do exactly 1000 damage. I feel like this is just a garbage spell. If you want to learn it though, you can learn it from Grumpy Cell of Angler Well, Brave Pan, Cactar, Dark Force, Pace, Gigantor, Gilgamesh, Humbaba, Mover, and Samurai Soul. But ultimately, you don't really need that spell very much. It's not that great. Normally, I would say Mighty Guard is super good, and it's still very good. It casts Protect and Sell on the higher party at ADOP, so it is a little expensive, but having AoE Protect Cell is very good, because Protecta and Selga does not exist in this game. So this is a very good alternative, again, both statuses of the higher party in one go. So this is very good. The problem, though, is you're not going to get this at the end of the game, basically. So, you learn it from Dark Behemoth, Guardian at Kefka's Tower, the Land Ray, or the Mover. You're more than likely going to learn it from the Mover. So, the fact that you get this at the end of the game makes it a little bit less valuable. It's still nice to get. But, like, you get, like, so late in the game that it's like, it's whatever, you know? So, Revenge Blast. This is your enemy skill, your question mark, or minus strike. It does, damage one enemy equal to the caster's max HP minus their current HP. The downside is, it's very expensive. It's 31 MP. 31 MP! That is bad. And you start the game with this. But, yeah, 31 MP is awful, dude. That's super, super bad. Super, super bad. And then we get White Wind. So White Wind costs 45 MP, it heals all party members, it heals the higher party equal to the amount of HP the caster has when casted it. So, I mean, it's White Wind. White Wind is always good. If you could get Strago with high HP, this makes White Wind very, very good. Is it an alternative to Curaga? I don't know. It depends on the amount of HP you get Strago. So honestly, I think Curaga might be better than White Wind. So you can learn this from Curelat, Dark Force, Kamui, Lady, Magic Dragon, Marxosius, Nestslug, People, Sprinter, Storm Dragon for first, Vector Lifos, and Benu Benu. And then we get level 5 Death. So level 5 Death is it's interesting to say the least, because you can't manipulate levels in this game, as far as I remember. Actually, I think you might be able to. But ultimately, level 5 Death, does it ignore immunity to death? Let's find out. Is it like FF5, where it ignores immunity? It is unblockable. But does it ignore immunity? Does that mean it ignores immunity? I don't know. I have no idea. So you learn this from Armor Goldhand, Apocrypha, Gygalas, Dark Force, Death Missile, Death Gaze, Devil, Dual Armor, Omega Weapon, Second Skull Dragon, and Trapper. So, I feel like I never use the level spells in this game. They never feel worth using. Ultimately, because I don't know what the levels of anything in this game really is. Despite playing it a decent amount, I don't know their levels. And really, you can just mark things very easily with everything else, you know? Alright, so level 4 Flare, cast Flare on enemies. Whose level are divisible by 4. It's kinda not really that good. I mean, it is good, but not good. Let me see if I can find it. It has a spell power of 66, ignores defense, and does no split damage. So, it's basically an AoE flare. But, because of the nature of the spell, it's just better to use Flare, I feel. You can learn this from Apocrypha, Dark Force, Devil, Dual Armor, Magic Dragon, Brown Magna Rogue, Omega Weapon, Burst Red Dragon, and Trapper. So yeah, I don't think it's really that good for spell to be on it. Much like with level 3 Confuse. It lets you inflict Confuse on all enemies with a level that is multiple 3. Why not just use Confuse? Or use, Noise Blaster. Or use Kate Sith. There's better options than this. You can learn this from Apocrypha, Dante, Dark Force, Devil, Magic Dragon, Omega Weapon, Trapper, and Ultros at the Opera House. So that spell is completely useless. And then you get this very, very weird spell, where it inflicts blind, slow, and silence on all enemies with a reflex status. I do not know if this ignores immunity. Let us find out. If it does, it gives you a niece. Oh, it fails on anyone immune to it, so it's bad. You're never gonna use the spell. This is a very bad spell. You're not using it. You learn it from Dark Force, Gygalas, Golahan, Kaiser Dragon, and Servant. And then there's this spell right here. Level Holy. Which does holy elemental damage to all enemies with a level that is a multiple of the last digit of the party's current guild. So, it does damage enemies, like, if the last digit of your guild is like 5, it's basically level 5 holy. If it's 8, it's level 8 holy. It has a spell power of 120 and ignores split damage. Odds are you're not using this spell. It's not really that great. You learn it from Alluring Rival, Dark Forest, Dolahan, Innocent, Kaiser Dragon, Magic Dragon, Omega Weapon, and the first Red Dragon. And then you get Traveler. Traveler is interesting. Let me see how much damage I would do right now if I were to use Traveler. Let's see, so 93, 151, divide by 32. I would do 2,911 damage with Traveler right now. If you're wondering how I got that, it does fixed damage in one enemy equal to the number of steps taken throughout the game divided by 32. And the MP cost of it is the whole minute's blade divided by 30. For you. For you. So that's kind of a jerk move and make the MP go up based on time. But honestly, it's kind of an interesting gimmick. I mean, it takes a lot to maximize this ability, but like, you know, I feel like maybe it's not really that good. It's probably not good at all. You can learn it from Brachiosaur, Crawler, Dark Force, Fafnir, Integer, Master Hogberry, Onion Gazer, Hogberry, and Unsealed. Force Field. You only learn this from Fiend, so you gotta fight Fiend with Strago and Kapari to learn this. This is the only one that you can miss at the entire game. So, this is an interesting little ability because it chooses a random element and makes it nullified to the entire party. And all enemies and all allies. This affects all enemies and all allies. So you can make yourself immune to all the elements on both sides using Force Field. As far as I'm aware. This does not affect attacks with more than one element, by the way. So things like Meltdown or Aqua Breath are not affected. Yeah, Traveler has the potential to be good, but you gotta do like a crap ton of steps in order to get that damage. Discord has a single levels or a single target's level. It fails on targets immune to death. The question is, does this have it rounded down? That's what I want to know. Does it have it rounded down? Let me see. It will round up. Okay, it rounds up unlike an FF5 where it rounds down. So that's a little bit better than FF... Well, is it a little bit better than FF5? I don't know if that's a little bit better than FF5. But, you can probably still do the level 5 death shenanigans here. Maybe. No, because level 5 death in FF5 ignores immunity, so it's worse. You can learn this from Chaser, Crawler, Dark Force, Piccolo Lizard, Gamma, Gilgamesh, Kefka at the sealed gate. Really? Kefka at the sealed gate uses this? Lizard, Metal Hitman, Omega Weapon, and Satellite. And then Bad Breath. Yup, Bad Breath. You will learn this from Dark Force, Great Malboro, Malboro, and Malboro Menace. So you will run into Malboro in, Geralt's Tomb. But, like, at that time, you could go to, Kefka's Tower, like, Dark Force of Great Malboro. So, I don't know. What it does, it lets blind, poison, imp, confuse, sleep, and silence one enemy. Is that good? I don't know, because I don't really use status effects. I prefer spending my MP to damage enemies. And I'm pretty sure most people do. Because, like, why spend a turn inflicting status effects when I can, you know, do this? So, Transfusion is, very similar to Sabin's, mantra, or Soul Spiral. It removes Strago from the fight, and it restores all HP MP statuses, but it only targets one ally. Sabin targets the higher party, so this is a worse version of Sabin's ability. And I would never use this. You learn this from Integer, Zunk, and Moose. Rippler! Target, so this changes, all positive and negative statuses with, the caster and the target. So it also fails that target's immune to him. Interestingly, there's several bugs with this. So, if it's used on Sago, Sago will forever lose his ability to use Interceptor. So, special effects like that get bugged up by Rippler. So, you want to not bring characters with special effects like that to enemies that use Rippler. You can learn this from both Blue Dragons, Dark Force, Gigantone, and Leapfrog. And then you get Scone. You start the game with this. So, this does non-elemental damage on one or more enemies, and inflicts confuse them. It has a hit rate of 75. So the damage is, it has a power of 40. However, if both the target and the caster and Strago's if both Strago's and the target's level are the same, it does times 8 damage. So that is a very strong spell if you and the target are the same level. After if you're not the same level, then it's, you know, not as good. So ultimately, out of the 3 spells that Strago starts with, Aqua Breath is the best. Quasar. You can learn this from Dark Force, Gilgamesh, and Goddess. I would recommend learning it from Goddess, but if you don't, you can get it from Dark Force. So, there's that. It has a spell power of 57, so it's still weaker than Aqua Breath. It does non-elemental damage to all enemies, but it ignores defense, so... Just because it has spell power of 57 doesn't mean it's going to be worse, because it ignores max defense. So it's still stronger than Aqua Breath. And then, his ultimate spell, Grand Delta, can be learned from Hegon and Omega Weapon. It has a power of 84 and does non-elemental damage to all enemies while ignoring defense. So it's 14 MP more than Quasar with 17 more power. Which honestly, that's not bad. That's pretty good. Also, you know they reused this animation from Chrono Trigger. This is basically just dark matter from Chrono Trigger. And the most useless spell in the game. Straker blows up and, dies because non-elemental damage equal their HP of one enemy. Why? Don't do this. This is a bad spell. You can learn it from Balloon, Bandit, Bomb, Dartboard, Gamma, Grenade, Zone, Onion Knight, and Warthog. So that's Strago. Strago is, he has some good stuff. And honestly, I do think he's still better than, Hera and Celis, but half of his moves are kinda not good. That's the issue with blue magic. Half of his spells are really good, the other half are trash. Oh boy, Realm. Oh boy, Realm. Realm is, she's kind of bad. Realm has the highest base magic of all characters in the game, so she does the most damage with magic, but that doesn't redeem her. Sketch is awful. Half the time it does nothing, the other half, it uses abilities that don't really help you. Or it uses abilities that helps the enemy more by healing them. I mean, you can heat Strago some lore through Sketch, but it's bad. There is a bug with Sketch, the SNES version, in earlier versions, where you can break the game outright. But that's only in earlier versions of the game. You can also get control by equipping the beret, or a fake mustache. Is it a beret? I think it's fake mustache. Which allows you to, take control of an enemy if you can. This is a better way of getting some, lores, but outside of that, Realm's not really that good. I'm gonna be honest. She kinda sucks. She kinda really, really sucks. And then you get, your two optional characters, Gogo and Umaru. Umaru's not even listed here, which is hilarious. So Umaru is only really good for Colosseum, because that's how you farm the miracle shoes. Outside of that, Umaru's pretty bad. He has the highest base stat in the game, in all honesty, but you can't control him. You can give him the Blizzard Orb, or the, Berserker Ring, to give him a couple other abilities that do more damage, but you can't control him. If he's the last character left alive, you're pretty much screwed. So, Umaru's kinda down at the bottom, really. And then there's Gogo. If you're wondering why he has 3 skills, that's because I was trying to do something, and I forget what it is. I think it was trying to steal a Celestiad. But Gogo, can equip pretty much any command in the game. Pretty much. So this makes Gogo very versatile. The problem is, Gogo has crap stats compared to everyone else. All of the magic that Gogo can use depends on the magic that is available across the higher current party. So, I mean, he has the potential to be very good, but at the same time, he's not really that great. Yes, he can mimic, but it's going to be much weaker than the original source. So ultimately, who is the best? He's the worst person of whoever. Yeah, he is. He really is. So ultimately, who is the best character in the game? Well, that goes as Setzer, if you are good at manipulating his slots. Setzer is by far the best character. if you can manipulate. Otherwise, she's the worst character. Down at the bottom, Umaru is probably down there with Go-Go. I feel like Sago's pretty far down, too. Honestly, I feel like, Sabin might be the best character in the game. Sabin, Gao, if you use Gao correctly. And honestly, Sabin, Gao, Edgar's pretty good. Edgar is very good. Cayenne's a lot better now, but I feel like he's a little bit lower of the list. I feel like Hera's probably the best of the magic users, honestly. Hera and Celis are kind of high. But yeah, I feel like Sabin is just the best character. I might be biased, but like, he's just really strong with his abilities. The only downside to Sabin is he doesn't get the good equipment options that some of the other characters get. And that is Esper's magic and the characters. So, that is all of that. Next time, we're going to talk about the locations. Am I going to get the bestiary? Probably not. It's probably just going to be the locations. I think this is the first FF that's going to take 4 streams. Oh god. Help me, please. It's going to take 4 streams to get through all of this. Ah. Alright, so that is it for this stream. I think I am done. I was going to do Xenoblades after this stream, but I've already streamed for 3 hours. So, I am done. No more. We're done. Alright, so, tomorrow, we are going to be doing Phantasmagoria of Dim Dream. That is happening. I did beat the extra stage last night. You're going to hear about me fuming about it on stream tomorrow, because I'm going to say right now, that extra stage is the easiest extra stage in the entire series. Yes, I said it. It's the easiest extra stage in the entire series. So why then did it take me almost a week to beat it? I'll tell you more about that tomorrow. I will tell you more about that tomorrow. So yeah, tomorrow will be that. Give me a second. Let me see who is streaming. Who is streaming? Goki is doing Sonic the Hedgehog Reloaded. B2 is doing Kirby Air Riders. Pio will be doing Arc Raiders at 11 p.m. It looks like Saxi's going to be doing a drawing stream at 10 p.m. Callie is doing a member stream at 9 p.m. Bay is going to be doing an unarchived karaoke at 8:30. For those who want to listen to Bay, it feels like it's been forever since we last saw Bay. Holy crap. It's been like a month since we last saw Bay, it feels like. Coyote is going to be doing more Majora's Mask at 9 p.m. I haven't really been watching Coyote lately. Unfortunately. I've been doing or watching other things. Anything else? I am not seeing anything else at the current time. So, it's Doki and Bijou at the moment. Again, later, well, in a little bit, it's going to be Bay. Again, later, it's going to be Coyote and Pio and Sachi. So that's it for today. So until next time, everyone, whatever that may be, we are going to talk about the locations and treasures next time. And then after that, we are going to do the bestiary. Hopefully we can get that done in one stream. And we will be going with the Pixel Remaster. And don't worry, the Voidex is going to go in depth with some other games. I have other games planned for this. So, until next time, everyone, you all have a great morning, afternoon, evening, night. I totally didn't steal that from anyone else. What are you talking about? And I will say, I will catch you on the flip side of the void. Take care, and have a great rest of your day and or night.